With Austin, when did this hamstring issue pop up?
It kind of came right off the off day, that Monday, that bonus Monday. We kind of felt a little something. Wasn't anything significant, but we just wanted to make sure that these first couple of days of the week of practice that he kind of regenerated and got all that discomfort out there. Yesterday he was moving well, and then today he practiced. So.
Did he tweak it in Monday's practice, or is it sort of like
no, in Monday's practice. Okay. Just there was a little bit of just kind of felt a little discomfort there coming off the off day, and so then we just were really careful with him the next couple of days prior. And today he looked good. Today he looked really good out there.
Are you expecting him to play Sunday?
Yes. We're ruling him as questionable, but we'll see how it goes. Obviously, when we get there, we have to fly and all that, but he looked good out there today, so optimistic for sure.
With Austin out, how much would that mean for carries for Justin Jackson and just working him in?
Yeah, that group behind Austin would split the load. And that's why we're going to need all those guys in the kicking game too. So I think this was a good week for them to kind of get off to a start without him being there, so that we could kind of see those guys within the game plan. So all those guys were able to get a lot of work this week, which was a positive.
For special teams and everything, safe to assume all four would be up?
No, probably 3 out of the 4. Yes, sir.
Brandon, with backup quarterback and kick return, how you decide on players there?
Quarterback will be Chase, and kick returner to be decided.
Coach, what would be a successful season for you? Obviously, you guys play to win the game, and Super Bowl would be ultimate. But how would you grade a successful season in your first year with the Chargers?
I think that us establishing a competitive standard of performance where we go out and we compete the way that we're capable of competing in all 3 phases of the game, where we can take a game plan each week in all 3 phases and go apply it to our opponent. I think that's big when you're starting a program, is to establish your way of playing. And I think what that does is you got to start there before you get into winning and losing, because there are a lot of illusions in the NFL. You could have an illusion of winning where you're not playing very well. And you could have an illusion of losing where you're losing, but hey, you're getting better. You're getting closer. And so I think for me, it's just establishing the way that we want to play, because I think if we establish the way we want to play, then our results will take care of themselves. A lot of it comes down to, do you have enough talent? Okay. When your way expresses itself and it's going well, okay, then how good are we? And I think that we've got a really good team. We've got a really good team, and I think that we have the type of team that can compete against anybody that we play against, and beat anybody that we play against. And so for me, I really want to be a deep team. That's important to me. This season is to be a deep team where all 3 phases of the game can go into any type of environment and play the game nose to nose. And I think that that's something, it's general. Like wins and losses. I don't know. I think that's really challenging to assess a total. I don't think like that. But I think that for the fans and for the people that follow us, I just really think that our standard of performance and the way we play and how we play, you'll know how it's going by what it looks like on the field. And then we got to be ready for the tough things that are coming. I think that when you talk about what would be a successful season, is our guys being able to respond to the NFL. There's a lot to respond to: injuries, losses. There's just so many things that come at you. COVID. There's so many challenges, and so to be a team that's playing at the end, you have to be able to respond. And we're certainly going to try and do everything we can to be a team that can face all that throughout the year.
Going through.
With Mike Williams, he's been out since he was out during the back end of training camp and everything. Do you feel like he's up to speed with everything? Do you feel like he's good going into Sunday?
Yes, Fernando. Mike has had 2 really good weeks of practice, and I really like the way he looks on that football field right now. And I think within our game plans, I feel like he's come alive, and I think he's in a good spot. I'm proud of him, how he worked to get himself healthy. He looks fast, and just looks like a guy that is going to have a good year for us.
Laga look this week?
Really good, Joe. Really good. I was really proud of him too, because he really had to battle through that discomfort, and then he kind of got it loosened up. And he's just a pro's pro. The guy's got real toughness, and I appreciate him. And it's that type of toughness that we're going to need moving forward.
You didn't have any replay reviews during the preseason that you initiated, but just in terms of managing the game and everything, how is that booth process going to go, just communicating with you?
Yeah, we had a couple like maybes, up there. Dan Smash doing a really good job for us with our coordinators that are up in the box, and I think that a lot of it is what we're learning is those TV angles, whether you're on the road or at home, that's a big difference. And so understanding those variables when you go into a game. But I felt like the line of communication between Dan, myself, coordinators was outstanding in the preseason, and hopefully it'll be a strength of ours moving forward.
Sticking with that general trend, just you made some fourth down decisions in the preseason, timeouts, those kinds of things. How comfortable are you with that process right now? I know you said Adidas in the feeding you like win probabilities and stuff. Have you made any tweaks to that process, and how comfortable are you with that overall process?
I think it different than the regular season. There were some things strategically that we were trying to do with our kicking situation. Right. So some of those fourth down things will be different moving forward. But I think what I've learned and what we're trying to do is be week to week. Hey, who are we playing? Who do we have on our team? Who are we playing on the other side? What's the weather like? And taking all those variables into our models that we make going into the ball game, and then being able to be ahead of the game, myself and Joe, Darius in the kicking game. Darius has got such a great background too. So I feel like from a modeling standpoint, we went through that modeling process in the preseason, like playing 3 different games and kind of working through that. And I felt like the communication was right for me. I didn't feel like sped up at all, but I know it's real, and now we'll see where we're at. But I like the communication process with Dan and Aditya up top, and then the coordinators, kind of that triangulation of communication.
How much leeway do you have? Because obviously some coaches from certain eras, go with feel or whatever. Mm-hmm. How much leeway do you have? Like if there's a certain percentage that's spit out by the model, you have to go for it, or like you're. Yeah,
I think there's kind of green, yellow, red. Okay. Green, yellow, red. I think yellow is more the judicious side of okay, it could be either or. Okay, and then I think that's when you got to use your coaching. You got to put your coaching hat on then. And I think that we're going to err on being aggressive and putting pressure on our opponents and using a lot of tactical things to our advantage. But we're going to trust our modeling too. And then when it does get into those yellow areas of it could be either or, then you got to coach. Then you got to understand some of the things that are happening within the ball game and how you're playing, how they're playing, and setting things up for the rest of the game. So all those things come into play, but I think that we trust our process, and hopefully, like I said, it'll be a strength of ours.
And green for you is no-brainer. Like you're not going to go against a green.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, it's not like you would never, but green is a healthy yes. That's why they say it. That's why we put it that way, term it that way.
Would you consider yourself to be a coach that wants to go for it on fourth down?
I'm a big fan of trusting our quarterback, putting the ball in his hands and putting pressure on the defense. I believe in that. And I think from a strategic standpoint, there are a lot of reasons why. Fear is definitely not going to be a motivator for us that we make decisions by. We're going to be able to live with our results because we trust our process and we trust our players. And I think that, there's certain situations that, that everyone knows that, like, hey, there's not a perfect decision here to be made, and sometimes you're going to have to live with the criticism, and that's part of the job, And like I said, I know that we won't be perfect, but I know that we'll be confident in how we made the decision, and if we make a mistake, we'll admit the mistake and we'll move forward and we'll learn a lot from it. But I like where we're at right now, and I trust our players a lot. And when you have a quarterback like ours, and you have skilled players like ours, you have a line like ours, you're going to err on putting pressure on the other team.
Coach Staley, what's been the main point you've tried to emphasize to your team this week?
That this is what we've been doing since we joined up. We're just better at it now. But the first, week of preparation, there is more specificity within the detail of playing someone new. But how we do things, it's not changing. Every day is game day here with the Los Angeles Chargers. Every day is game day. Okay, every day there's a lot at stake. Every day we have to perform. And now what we've been able to do is just apply that process to the specific parts of a plan, which I've really enjoyed. And there's a lot to work through in a week. And I think that our guys have kind of seen like how we structure the week, just the meetings, the lifts, the practices themselves, the recovery, the travel this week, and why we do what we do. And I think that's been fun to get underway, and now it's time to go play ball.
5 years ago today, you were starting to get a defensive game plan together to plan against Baldwin Wallace.
Yep.
And now you're here at the podium. Any nerves going into this weekend, or have you thought about the rapid rise and everything? Or was that
I know that game plan. I know there was a lot at stake in that game. It's a big rivalry game. We had lost a tough one to Oshkosh, who we would eventually play in the semifinals. So we had to really respond to that loss. And BW is a team that was really well coached. Really, it's a rivalry game. It was a tight game. We had a rookie quarterback, or we had a freshman quarterback. So defensively, like, we knew we were going to have to play a really good game, and we ended up holding them to 10. And that touchdown came after one of our turnovers. I think our quarterback maybe threw 3 interceptions or 4 that game, and we really had to play tight in that game. And we actually turned them over late in the game to get a touchdown to go ahead. We had a big takeaway to get the ball back to get us that last touchdown. And there was a lot that went into that week to play them. They had a really good quarterback run game that we really had to prepare for. They were a really good running team. We knew they were going to try and keep it away from our offense. And, you know, I'm giving you all those details because that's exactly the way I'm feeling now. I'm going through all the, you know, situations of how we're going to block these rushers from, you know, Washington, and, you know, these linebacking core that's, you know, they're really good. You know, they're really well coached. These secondaries really well coached. They got a really good pass defense. They really, you know, are on offense. They got a lot of weapons, team speed. They got a quarterback that's played like a long time, that's seen a lot. You know, I'm just going into all the details of the plan. That's just how I am, and I was no different 5 years ago. Just not as good of a coach.
Just any time to savor just the process and road to get here, or was that during the summer when you took the journey back to Cleveland and all that?
You know, Joe, that reflection, I think, will happen after I'm done coaching. I think right now my reflection is just on how I'm coaching, you know, and trying to be as good as I can be. Hopefully when I'm done coaching, I can look back and enjoy all the things that you're talking about, and I'm sure that I will. I'm certainly proud of my path and all that, but, you know, now is not the time for reflection.